A three-time NASCAR champion just stood in victory lane and basically dared the rest of the field to catch him. Joey Logano won Saturday night at Richmond Raceway. And the second he climbed out of that car, he didn't celebrate like a driver who just got lucky. He talked like a man sending a message. "Don't let the boys get hot," Logano said. "We're pretty strong right now." That's not a throwaway line after a win. That's a warning. And once you understand where Logano's season was just 6 weeks ago, you'll understand exactly why it should worry everyone chasing a championship this year. Logano held off Chase Briscoe by just 0.392 seconds in Saturday night's Cookout 400. It's his 39th career win, his third at Richmond, and his second victory in the last 4 races. On paper, that's a great weekend. But the number that actually matters isn't the win total. It's the turnaround, and that turnaround is the real headline here. Just over a month ago, Joey Logano was sitting 20th in the NASCAR Cup Series championship standings. Outside playoff position, nowhere near contention. It was, by his own team's account, one of the slowest starts to a season in Logano's entire championship-winning career. Now, after this win, he's up to 9th. That climb happened in 6 races. Not a full season. 6 races. And here's the part that should really get your attention. Under NASCAR's current format, the sport went back to its original chase system this year. The top 16 drivers in points after the full regular season lock into the postseason field. There's no shortcut. No automatic berth just for winning a race. Standings position is everything. With only 2 races left before that 16-driver field gets set, a former champion suddenly playing his best hand at exactly the right moment is the last thing anybody else in that bubble wants to see. Let's walk through how Saturday night actually happened, because the way Logano won this race tells you a lot about where his team is right now. He led 95 of the 400 laps at Richmond. That's not a driver who snuck through on strategy. That's a driver who was simply faster than almost everybody else on track for most of the night. Logano took the Stage 2 win outright, beating out Denny Hamlin, who trailed him at that point, followed by Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and Ryan Blaney. Then in the final stage, Briscoe actually pulled away and built close to a 2-second lead with about 75 laps still remaining. For a lot of teams, that gap would have been the story. Briscoe looked like he had it, but Logano's team made the moves late. Fresh tires, a final pit sequence that put him in position, and over the closing laps, he ran Briscoe down and crossed the line just 0.392 seconds ahead. That's a razor's edge finish, decided almost entirely by execution in the final stretch, not luck. Zoom out from just this one race, and the pattern gets even more serious. Over his last 5 races, Logano now has 2 wins, 3 top 5 finishes, and 4 top 10s. His single worst result in that stretch was a 14th place run at Iowa Speedway. That's not a hot night. That's a team performing like a legitimate title threat, race after race, for over a month straight. Here's the detail a lot of fans are going to miss if they only watch the highlights. Logano told reporters after the race that his team has actually had a fast car for the last 5 races in a row. They just hadn't been able to convert that speed into a win. Close finishes, near misses, frustration building week after week. In his own words, it was sweet redemption finally getting one to stick. That single comment changes how you should read this entire story. This isn't a team that suddenly discovered speed on Saturday night. This is a team that has been fast for over a month and finally broke through, which means, according to Logano himself, the version of the number 22 car that just won at Richmond isn't new. It's been building under the radar. NASCAR just hadn't seen it convert into a checkered flag until now. That's a very different story than a driver got hot for one race. That's a team quietly building toward the exact right moment to peak, with the playoffs right around the corner. Logano wasn't the only story to come out of Richmond. Austin Cindric had high praise for his veteran teammate after the race, saying Richmond is a track where he studies Logano's driving closely, calling him a driver who could finish top 5 there in a rental car. That's the kind of respect that doesn't get handed out for a lucky win. That's a teammate acknowledging real, sustained mastery of a racetrack. Cindric backed that praise up with results of his own, finishing 3rd and making real strides in his own push to lock up a playoff spot with the regular season winding down. Denny Hamlin's night carried extra weight too. Richmond is close to where Hamlin grew up, and the track held an emotional pre-race tribute Friday, dedicating grandstand seats where his parents used to watch him race for years before he became a 64-time Cup Series winner. Hamlin's father passed away in a house fire last December, and the driver spoke afterward about how meaningful it was getting to spend the weekend with family and old friends who still live nearby. Hamlin finished fourth. Chase Elliott finished fifth, which was actually his first top 5 result since winning at Texas Motor Speedway 3 months earlier. A sign that Logano isn't the only contender starting to find speed at exactly the wrong time for anyone hoping to cruise into the playoffs. Step back and look at the full order behind Logano at Richmond. Hamlin, Briscoe, Cindric, Blaney, Berry, and Elliott. That's a top 10 filled almost entirely with drivers who are either already playoff eligible or fighting hard to be. Which tells you Richmond wasn't a night where one team ran away from a weak field. It was a night where Logano beat a legitimately strong group of contenders on a track where several of them have historically excelled. That matters because Richmond has always been considered one of NASCAR's premier short-track tests. Beating a field like that, on a track like that with the playoffs closing in, is exactly the kind of statement result that shifts how rivals prepare for the postseason. And this isn't unfamiliar territory for Logano. He's a 3-time Cup Series champion. He knows exactly what it looks like when a team peaks at the right time heading into a title run. According to his own comments, that's precisely what he believes is happening right now. The Cup Series moves on to New Hampshire Motor Speedway next for the Dollar Tree 301, with Ryan Blaney defending his win from last year at that track. Only 2 regular season races remain before the 16-driver chase field is officially locked in. For any team currently sitting near that cutoff line, Logano's surge could not have come at a worse moment. A 3-time champion finding his best form right as the postseason approaches is exactly the kind of momentum nobody on the bubble wants to see from a rival. There's also history working in Logano's favor heading into New Hampshire specifically. It's the track where he earned his very first career Cup Series win back in 2009, and he returned to victory lane there again in 2014. That kind of track record doesn't guarantee anything on its own, but paired with the form his team is showing right now, it's one more reason rivals should be paying close attention this week. If Logano's number 22 team carries this level of speed into New Hampshire and beyond, he's not just squeaking into the playoffs as a name at the bottom of the list. He's walking in as one of the most dangerous cars in the entire field. A former champion who's proven, over and over in his career, exactly what it takes to close out a title. The real question now is whether anyone can slow this number 22 team down before the postseason even begins, or whether New Hampshire is about to be win number 3 in 6 races, with Logano sending an even louder message heading into the chase. Either way, don't let the boys get hot might end up being the most important sentence of NASCAR's entire summer. If you want to know the moment Logano's next move happens, hit subscribe right now. This story is far from finished. And based on what we just saw at Richmond, neither is he.